Hi, Steve Close here. I'm recording Friends of Science, Michelle Stirling, about brainwashing children, climate change. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Michelle Stirling for Friends of Science Society. Someone sent me this email from EcoJustice. It reads, I'm Sophia. I'm 12 and I'm taking Doug Ford to court. Whoa, David and Goliath, am I right? She's suing the Government of Ontario for weakening the province's climate targets and violating Ontarians' charter rights. She says, for as long as I can remember, I've worried about the climate emergency. I've attended countless rallies, met with politicians, and spoken at conferences, and this fall I even got to meet Greta Thunberg. Well, that's a no-brainer because Sophia's mom, Kathy Orlando, who's also named in this action, is a board member of the nonprofit foundation of We Don't Have Time, listed right there with Greta Thunberg in the prospectus. We Don't Have Time is a carbon offset promotion platform developed by green billionaires. And perhaps no surprise that Kathy Orlando is also Executive Director of Citizens Climate Lobby Canada, which also promotes carbon pricing and especially the carbon fee and dividend program. Sophia's note on eco-justice goes on to say, getting to meet one of my heroes was fun, but I'm angry and a little sad that I have to do any of this. No kidding. I feel exactly the same. The lawsuit filed by the collection of young people led by Sophia is filled with wildly exaggerated statements about climate change and extreme weather. In 2012, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, issued a special report showing that there was little evidence that human impacts on climate were causing any more extreme weather events. In 2013, the same IPCC issued the AR5 report, stating there had been no statistically significant warming for 15 years prior. That's before Kyoto was ratified, despite a significant rise in carbon dioxide. So this has led to dozens, hundreds of publications showing that carbon dioxide has a nominal effect on climate change and human influence is not catastrophic. Natural factors are far more influential. Dr. Judith Curry testified to the U.S. Senate on January 16, 2014, that the case for human-caused global warming, climate change, is weakened, and that carbon dioxide is not the control knob that can fine-tune climate. So these children are being misled by this so-called environmental legal charity, EcoJustice. And, as recently reported in the National Post, thousands, hundreds of thousands of other children are being scared to death also by similar climate fear mongers, this time making visits to school classrooms of 7-year-olds in Ontario. As reported in this story in the National Post, the children were shown Greta's angry and hateful, "How dare you" diatribe at the UN, and then shown a kind of doomsday carbon clock, causing at least one child to cry out in fear, "I don't want to die," and the others to chime in. Well, how do we know about this? Only because one parent complained. What's going on with this sick exploitation of children? As reported by the Edmonton Journal, another group, the 3%, have reportedly been in and out of schools across the country, misleading kids to think we could power 40% of the world with wind, and making ridiculous statements about the Alberta oil sands. Look at this. They call it climate indifference. The oil sands. The IMF has estimated that Canada's current subsidies to fossil fuels amount to $46.4 billion per year. That's over 10% of federal budget expenditures, or 3.3 times higher than our national defense budget. That's totally ridiculous. Then they say, as a result, our overdependence on oil sands creates a culture of climate or my family, which leads to climate indifference. All that's totally false. As we've shown in our report, Keep Canada in the Black, there are no fossil fuel subsidies in Canada, and there's no overdependence on the oil sands. It's just one part of Alberta's economic mix. So who's behind this 3% thing? Well, Climate Reality is one partner, Al Gore's organization, another federally registered charity called Foundation for Environmental Stewardship, and guess who's on their board? That's right, Eco-Justice. Parker Gallant has recently shown there's a convoluted rabbit warren of tax-subsidized charities and foundations and green cronies trying to push carbon pricing down the throats of tax-paying Canadian adults. And now we have a similar scenario of tax-subsidized charities trying to exploit little children to either change the law in court or scare those little people into compliance on climate change. This kind of immoral child exploitation should be illegal, and this kind of taxpayer charitable ripoff must stop. And certainly, according to the CRA's website on eco-justice, charities are forbidden to participate in partisan political activities to try and change the law. So hopefully, the public will take this information and run with it. And as for your kids, well, let's let the hedgehog family tell a climate-friendly tale.
But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day.
Mommy! Oh dear, what's wrong? Our house is on fire! Fire? No, sweetheart, there's no fire. You must be having a bad dream. But she said... She? Ah!
What's going on?
Ah! Ah! I'm scared.
Of what?
Grandma!
Calm down, everyone. Calm down. She's just a little girl. Greta's not a scientist. She doesn't even go to school anymore. What are you afraid of? The climate monster under your bed? I'll show you what to be afraid of. There, look.
There's nothing there. Oh, honey.
Listen, climate change is real. All scientists agree. Nothing new under the sun. It doesn't scare me.
Climate change is real. The scientists all agree. Nothing new under the sun. It doesn't scare me.
Climate change is real. The sun is what most affects climate change, not you. So keep calm and carry on. Have hope and sweet dreams.